You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
And we're back. It seems as though that we're never away now, because every 3 or 4 days there's always Scottish football on, and we won last night for the Dundee United St Mirren game, and we're back tonight again for another game in hand. This time it's Aberdeen against Celtic. The game was postponed a few weeks ago, about 4:30 in the afternoon, and I don't know about you, but I knew a lot of people that went up for the game. But so the game's on tonight. It's 8:00 kickoff, and we'll build up to the game as usual. Joined tonight by Robbie Collins and Regan Stevenson, and also the man you can see is Ethan Barlow. How are you, Ethan?
Yeah, good. Excited for another, which I imagine to be a entertaining game of football. I know that if you're looking at the form and whatever, then Celtic will obviously be big favourites, especially with Aberdeen's recent record against the champions at home. But, you know, this season's been filled with twists and turns, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another one, which would probably most likely be Celtic dropping points tonight after carrying the momentum out of the derby at the weekend, despite not picking up 3 points. But obviously this is Celtic's opportunity to catch up, put more pressure on Rangers, obviously, and overtake them, and of course Hearts narrow that gap to them to just 5 points, which is still quite a big gap, I will say. And I think Hearts are firmly in the position of power at the minute, and it's their title to lose. But all Celtic can do is win every game from here on in. I don't think they will do that. I don't think any of the 4 title contenders will do that. Obviously, Motherwell play their game in hand at the weekend at Dens Park, because obviously not in the Scottish Cup anymore, neither of those sides. So yeah, really interested, and I think we'll get a real better picture of the league when every club's played the games in hand, and then we hopefully the weather up northeast, because I know that's been really the struggle area, why we've had all these games in hand, sort of lights up a bit like the rest of Scotland. We get some sun, we don't have any more cancellations, and we can look forward to all the teams being having played the same games, and really sort of mapping out where our predictions can really lie.
Robbie, big night ahead at the top. Well, I suppose looking at these 2 teams, Aberdeen and Celtic, both need points for opposite ends of the table. Obviously, Celtic, if they win tonight, they go 1 point clear of Rangers, get a boost going into Sunday's quarter-final tie against them at Ibrox. Aberdeen, for all the wrong reasons, I suppose, for the to kind of like climb up that table.
Aye, and I think both teams equally need it as much. Aberdeen, in my opinion, are not a relegation fight yet. I think it's still very close to that bottom 6, so they'll be hoping they can try and push out the league and try and hopefully secure 8th or 7th. I think they'll most likely be wanting 7th, but aye, of course, you know, you don't need me to go into why Celtic need it as well. That's pretty fairly obvious. They need to try and keep themselves in a title fight, which any points dropped, especially in a game in hand, is pretty crucial in that title fight. So it's important Celtic go up to Pittodrie night and try and get all 3 points to come back down. So aye, Michael, it's a pretty interesting fight in both aspects for both clubs.
Yeah, obviously we'll get into it with Martin Neal and Peter leaving, but also as well, I don't know if you guys saw the Dave Cormack kind of interview on Aberdeen kind of like TV. That was quite interesting. But I mean, to be honest, even before you when you were watching it, you weren't surprised that he was coming out and making statements about that, because you know, to get the timing right as well, because you know, that's what chairman does, really, like, talk up the club, basically.
Yeah, that's that, and he needs to be a confident front for the supporters to see and believe in. I don't know if a lot of the Aberdeen fans do really have full belief in him based on the recent appointments and how unsuccessful they've been in the long term. Obviously, Jimmy Tilleen brought that special day at the end of last season, and there's no reason why Aberdeen couldn't do that again this season, because the Scottish Cup seems to be the only place they've had any success out of any of the competitions they've played. The league form, specifically lately, has been terrible, and as Robbie said, I think Dundee United maybe just ruled themselves out of the relegation playoff talk last night with their win. And I think if Aberdeen were to win tonight, which I don't see as very likely, but certainly a chance, and I think they could maybe do the same. But yeah, it's disappointing for Aberdeen that I think that any chance of top six is gone at this point. And I think the Scottish Cup will be the main thing that they're focusing on. But they've got to really, I think, between now and the summer, realise who the manager is going to be. I imagine Dave Cormack and his fellow sort of board members will have an idea of where they want to go next, but they'll need to have that replacement in and quick when the summer starts. And I think the thing Peter Leven can do between now and then is obviously use the squad and maybe feed on to the next manager about each of the players and what players can be here and what players they'll be moving on and stuff like that. I know Aberdeen fans haven't been happy with a lot of the performers recently and the performances by the players, which would make sense for such a terrible run they've been on, especially in the league. So a real opportunity tonight to get back to winning ways or get a positive result, whether that being a draw. So yeah, big night for Aberdeen. But I think Celtic will just about have too much for them. Not too convinced by Martin O'Neill's side, as I haven't been for quite a while now. But I think carrying the momentum out of Ibrox on Sunday, I think they'll just have enough to take 3 points from Pittodrie.
You've got to imagine that. I think the Aberdeen
And
fans.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think Aberdeen fans will be particularly disappointed they're not in a title fight. You're in a season where it's looking like 4 clubs could be in that fight. I mean, 4 clubs are in that fight. Obviously, Motherwell with the sort of outside shouts to win the league, but you've got to imagine with the amount of money that Tilleen get back to in the summer, the high quality of players that he originally brought in at the time. You know, we were looking at guys like Carlson and saying, what a steal that is for Aberdeen, what a player he could be. Obviously, it's not worked out that way. In my opinion, you've got to, if you're an Aberdeen fan, you're a bit fuming that you're not up there fighting for the title, just for the way obviously last season ended and the sort of way the season started originally. I'd be pretty fuming, but the day just need to fight for survival. And as Ethan said, I think if the day get a win tonight, considering everything that happened last night at Tannadice, then I think it probably will just keep them safe anyway for any danger of relegation.
Yeah, and it's been a terrible run for them recently as well. No wins in their last 5 league games, 1 in their last 12, I think, and that was against Livingston. The only positive really has been the Scottish Cup, and that was the same towards the end of last season for Jimmy Tilleen's side as well. So maybe that's something that Peter Leven can look to, and obviously it's not going to be easy for them because there's still some big names in the Scottish Cup, but you would say even though we've seen big clubs go there already this season and not get the job done at East End Park, you would have probably said that was one of the more favourable draws to go there to Neil away to Neil Lennon's side. So a big opportunity to go to Hampden again for Aberdeen. They usually find themselves there, especially in the Scottish Cup. So a real opportunity to capitalise and probably be one of the favourites, but I think any team left in the competition is very much capable of winning the Scottish Cup with how crazy Scottish football has been this season, especially with one of Celtic or Rangers being knocked out on Sunday, of course.
I did just see...
Partick Thistle.
I was just about to say that, Regan. I just seen Partick Thistle sold at the away attendance for Paisley at the weekend.
Yes, so my boys have sold at the allocation. Yep.
Clearly up for it.
Big time, wasn't it?
I believe that we've got the team. I believe that we've got the team news tonight, even for the Aberdeen Celtic game. I don't know if you've got it up.
Yeah, I've got it up here. Yeah, I think it's 4 changes for both teams from the weekend for Aberdeen. I think it's Liam Morrison, Nicky Devlin, Graham Shinnie, and Topi Keskinen that drop out. The starting 11 reads Mitov, back four of Frame, obviously ex-Celtic, Malloy, Milne, Jensen, Helton Nilsson in midfield, alongside Armstrong, Geiger, Cameron, Olisanya with Kevin Nisbet up front. And then for Celtic, 4 changes as well. The players dropping out are, I'll get them in a minute, but the Celtic team is, okay, I've lost it. Let me find it again. The Celtic team is Sinisalo, Murray, Araujo, Tierney, Scales, McGregor, McCowan, Hatate, Yang, Taneki, and Shivan Chara. The 4 players dropping out: Adamu, Dyson Maeda, Oxley Chamberlain, and Benjamin Nigren. So, yeah, a rotated Celtic team, which you would have expected after the weekend. Maybe a surprise change that McCowan comes in, but I think he performed excellently last week against the Burnley. So I think he probably deserved another start, and he's obviously got that tonight.
I mean, I think I said this to you on Sunday, Ethan, that I think the teams that finished the game at Ibrox on Sunday we got started tonight, and I think I think I'm nearly right with all my predictions in that one, because obviously McCown was a sub, Atai was a sub, and
Come on, Michael. Come on. Cavan Chara was just fighting the players on Sunday. He didn't actually play.
Did you guys not think that? I don't think I've actually properly spoke to you after the game, but I thought that would have been a perfect. See, looking back, obviously, I think Celtic fans were rightly to say that Tam Plot shouldn't have been starting just with the sort of performances he'd had. Big Tam with the performances he'd had beforehand. But if you actually look at the way the Rangers game went, you'd argue that was exactly the type of player Celtic needed up front. They needed somebody to hold the ball up, try and create chances, because it's something that they lacked in the first half. So
yeah, I'd like to ask you guys, right? See, in terms of Iheanacho, I mean, what's happened to him? Surely he's the best striker of the club.
Yeah, I think he's shown in times that he is best out of a bad bunch, certainly at points in the season. I think Thomas Chivanchara's offered something. I know he's not had the really impressive goal record since coming in, but I will say from watching almost all the minutes of all the matches that he doesn't get the best of chances or the best of service. Junior Adamu, less so. I think he had 6 touches in the first half the other day against Rangers. And yeah, of course, as Reagan's discovered and pointed out, Kelechi Iheanacho not on the bench again. The Celtic bench reads Duan, obviously former Aberdeen, Arthur, Donovan, Sirachi, Oxley Chamberlain, Nigren, Adamu, Maeda, and James Forrest on the Aberdeen bench. Vitols, Gayamfi, Morrison, the former Celtic, Lobman, Shinnie, Kjartansson, Bilalovic, Lazatic, and Keskinen. So, yeah, a few changes for both sides, and obviously try to freshen up ahead of the Scottish Cup games, which both teams will be desperate to win on the weekend.
I just want to ask you, Ethan, then, do you think there's a certain reason why that's why he's not in the squad? Because he's played he's been in all of the European matches, but he's not been in the Scotland matches. Is that clause in his contract or something? He has to play in Europe, but he's not to play in Scotland. That's just strange.
I don't know. I don't think so. But I think obviously Martin Neal's he's got a bigger squad in the European games. He's got more players available to him on the bench, and obviously when he looks at the bench, he probably likes the proposition of Kelechi Iheanacho maybe better than a Junior Adamu. And based off what we've seen from the two players for a 30-minute cameo, I think I would have to agree. But it is strange that in the league he's got Junior Adamu on the bench, or obviously even starting at the weekend, and then he's not got Kelechi Iheanacho anywhere to be seen. So yeah, it's a strange one, but I think it was something a problem that we might have ran into when Kelechi Iheanacho had joined Celtic, because his recent fitness record isn't excellent, and I think that might be why that when Celtic have got other bodies now in that position, that he is going to sort of move back and not be in part of the squads. As I noticed, Alex has put a comment, and a very ambitious comment, from a both Rangers and Aberdeen point of view, whatever way you want to look at it.
Yeah, I thought Rangers fans didn't like Aberdeen as well.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure they'll be hoping for an Aberdeen win tonight, as will Hearts and Motherwell.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at the quotes that the managers made yesterday. First up, we'll go the home manager, Peter Leven. He said, Celtic are a good team, but we are also a good team on our day. We need to bring it to tomorrow, but obviously we're speaking yesterday. It needs to be a 95 minute performance. I don't know where he's getting that from. We need that. We haven't had much of those this season, but we are at home. We are a good team, but we shouldn't fear anyone. This is a Shugs club. The boys should know that, and anyone coming to Piccoli should know that win for a tough game. Robbie, managers say that before the game, but talk up the game. But as I always say, supporters aren't interested in that. They're interested in what they do in the park.
Aye, obviously we've been taking a wee dig at the amount of injury time that's been getting added on in recent weeks in games, but it's all fair in the end, you know what I mean? I never get that argument, guys. I don't know about you, but both teams can score in that injury time, so I never really get that point. But for what I'm reading for Aberdeen fans, they don't seem too pleased. It looks like it will be a back five that they're actually gone with tonight, which Aberdeen fans don't seem really impressed with, considering. Well, I want to point it across to you guys, because somebody's making the point that why are we playing a back five against probably the worst Celtic side in years, arguably, in terms of quality and the way they're playing right now. They don't look too inspiring, so I think I find that a bit weird that Aberdeen are not really going for it.
I think because, like you guys were saying about 5 minutes ago, it's probably because Aberdeen already know that the biggest match of the season is going to be on Saturday, and obviously I think that possibly Aberdeen will be beaten Saturday, to be honest with you, because I've seen Neil Lennon's team this season. They're a pretty good team. You know, I watched them last Tuesday night against my Partick Thistle. They played pretty well, and then they won last night 3-0. So I think they could spring a surprise. So I think Aberdeen are just probably resting a few players, I think.
Aye, well, teams don't historically do well up against Olasanya. I know Celtic's had a few problems with him, obviously, us before. I think he's probably not.
Don't say that for Michael. You'll be having a heart attack.
No, but no, but I think he is. If I had to pick a player anyway at the Aberdeen team, of course, we're looking at guys like Cameron in there and Armstrong, but just with Olasanya's sheer pace, it can cause a lot of defences problem. And when Celtic don't have, let's be honest, it's not the perfect Celtic defence tonight, especially the two centre-backs, that could be a lot stronger. So it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup.
Robbie, I don't know, like, what is the setup for the Aberdeen back five? Because I'm looking at it and seeing it as a back four, but I don't know.
An Aberdeen fans in here seems to suggest that Jensen's going to be playing at wing back, so I don't know if that moves Nelson into defence and maybe pushes Jensen at there, but I'm not sure. I think we'll see probably how it lines up when obviously the teams commit and stuff, but a lot of Aberdeen fans are suggesting that is the back five that he's gone with, which still doesn't work, because then you've got Nisbet and Olasanya, who are two strikers up there, so I'm not sure how it's going to work. But
do you think two strikers will actually do well against Celtic? Because the back line is pretty bad for Celtic tonight. I would say Murray, not too impressed with him. And obviously you've got Scales. Obviously people are calling him Scaldini the last few months under Martin O'Neill, but I don't think he's the best defender. So if Aberdeen can get the sort of two strikers up against these two, I think they could have real joy. Robbie?
Well, that's what you want. You want Kevin Nisbet. Realistically, he's your sort of striker, you know what I mean? He's your number 9, your finisher. You've got Olasanya that's going to use his pace to get at Celtic's backline, I think. Scales versus Olasanya is going to be a real battle. I think that's where he'll probably plant Olasanya, getting to run at Liam Scales, probably get Nisbet to play Alpha, Den Murray at centre back. So it's going to be a couple of interesting battles. Of course, you've got Cameron in there as well. They'll need to try and control Celtic's midfield, because I think that is one of Celtic's strongest, in my opinion. Hatate was absolutely phenomenal at the weekend, completely changed the game. So, there's a couple of good, interesting battles on early pitch, I'd say.
I've got a question for you, Fee, right? Because obviously Trusty is available for the match on Sunday because it's not on league duty. Do you think Martin O'Neill plays Trusty and Scales on Sunday, or do you think he goes with Dane Murray?
I think he'll go with Dane Murray.
Do you?
Yeah, I think he'll keep Dane Murray in the team, depending on his performance tonight. But obviously, he made the big error for the second goal.
He made a shocking error.
Yeah, he did. But apart from that, over the last, I thought he did over the last 180 minutes that we've seen him play, both the Stuttgart away game and the game at Ibrox. I think he's been really solid. Apart from that, and I know, of course, he's got the potential for a mistake, but a lot of central defenders do, and I think if he can cut them out of his game, because obviously that's probably made up the majority of the highlight package or the low light package. What is it? Sorry,
I said he's not got a very good package at Celtic, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like the majority of his sort of time and what people think of him playing for Celtic is those like high profile errors. So if he can cut them out of his game, I think he'll be a really good player for Celtic. But obviously that's a big if, and tonight would be a good place to start with that. But yeah, I could easily see Austin Trusty coming back in. It was something that I thought about, obviously, because Trusty's not suspended for the cup game, so he can't come in, and it's a nice option for Martin O'Neill to have. And I imagine Kasper Schmeichel will probably be back from his illness by then, so that'll be another thing that Martin O'Neill has to think about. So yeah, really interesting. Some headaches for him over the next couple of games, but you obviously want to see how the players he's brought in tonight perform from the start, because we've seen a few times with a few players for Celtic this season that they make a great impact off the bench, and then you bring them in to start and they're just not the same player. So I think Junior Adamu is possibly one of them. He was really good in a couple of sub cameos. He obviously got the goal against Dundee. I thought he looked really energetic against Livingston as well, and then he started against Kilmarnock, got hooked at half time, played okay against Stuttgart, obviously set up the goal for Luke McCowan, and then started at Ibrox, hooked at half time again. So yeah, these players will need to really set their quality and their position from the start tonight, and I think that's what Martin O'Neill will be looking for, because the last wee while now Celtic haven't been able to start games strong at all, apart from obviously when they scored in the opening 30 seconds in Germany. But yeah, it'll be interesting, because if Aberdeen can get a quick start and maybe get a goal ahead, then it'll make it really difficult for Celtic to get back into the game. But if Celtic can start well on the front foot, Rio Hatate can perform at the level he did at the weekend, and I think he could be season defining for Celtic. I think he's that good of a footballer on his day. But the unfortunate thing for the Celtic fans is that's the only time we've seen him perform at that level for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Reagan, that obviously we all knew that this was going to be a big game for Celtic and Aberdeen, late enough, for two different reasons. Obviously, Celtic at the top and Aberdeen's trying to climb out the kind of like relegation battle at the bottom. But I mean, I think like Celtic go into this on a bit of a high, because even though that they pick up a point on Sunday at Ibrox, it would have felt like a win to them, because I mean, if you take into consideration half time, I mean, I don't know about if Alex is still watching the show as well, but I feel as though half time came at a bad time for Rangers and a good time for Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, from the first 45 minutes, it done very well. But I mean, Celtic played so great in the first half. I mean, I think in terms of the overall picture, I think Martin were probably a tipping point in the after the first win, but I think in general, I don't think Celtic are. I don't think Celtic are still playing too well, to be honest with you.
And as for Aberdeen, Robbie, they've come off a back of a 1-0 defeat against Hearts, but it's still another defeat.
It is, aye, and they've not won the last 5 in the league. I think it's 4 losses and 1 draw. They're on some really bad form. I mean, let's be honest, guys, Aberdeen should have had their managerial search wrapped up by now. Of course, I think Cormac did come out and say that there was a bit of a delay, but you know, he knew he was going to sack Talene, so you've got to be straight on top of that, straight to try to get somebody else in. The squad look uninspired. I said it after the first game against Rangers when we spoke to Dave. Obviously, we had him on the show, and I said I don't think Peter Levine's the right sort of fix here right now. Short term, I think you needed somebody in straight away that's better than Peter Levine. No disrespect to him, I just don't think he's good enough, to be honest. And I think he's probably shown that in the last few weeks. I don't think Aberdeen have performed well enough. He's playing players in really weird positions. I know, obviously, I keep tabs quite closely on Olasanya to see what he does. He seems to be playing him right wing, which is so unnatural for a guy like Olasanya. That's no his best position by any stretch. So I think Michael Aberdeen should have this situation sorted a lot sooner than now. You'll probably just say they're waiting out to the end of the season. I know they've potentially looked at a few MLS managers the last week or so. So
No, that was.
I know. Last time wasn't so great, so they'll be hoping it's better.
Some of the football in the land was brilliant to watch, wasn't it, even?
Yeah, some of it was, in fairness. Just not the most successful.
Brilliant to watch if you were a Sunderland fan at Hampden Park that day. But I think Aberdeen need to get it right, because if this season's taught us anything, Motherwell and Hearts are not going to go away right now. Well, Hearts especially. After this season, Hearts will be straight back up there competing again. You know, they're not going to, if they go on to win the league, they're not going to just take that and finish 4th or whatever the next season. I don't believe that. Tony Bloom wants to build something at Tynecastle, so if you're an Aberdeen fan looking at Hearts, you're probably thinking, why are we not up there doing the same? Why are we not putting that investment and why are we not trying to challenge?
I mean, even it's one of these kind of like answers you would love to give Aberdeen fans, but we can't give an answer but Aberdeen's one of these kind of like sleeping giants in terms of like the big club, one club city and all the rest. Won a Scottish Cup last season, and what else have they did this season? Nothing.
Yeah, it's just been the season's been pretty much a write-off from the start, really. When Jimmy Talene, the direction wasn't changing in terms of the league form and what they were able to achieve on a consistent basis. Obviously, that dragged on a little bit, some Aberdeen fans would say. I think they gave him a good opportunity and one he deserved after what he done last season to turn the tide, but obviously he couldn't do it. And then they went for Peter Leaving to fill the gap as they have done in the past, and pretty much said, right, okay, well, we're not going to go for any league success this season or any European football. We'll wait it out and we'll have a good go at it next season. But I think it's just been too unsuccessful in the league for Aberdeen consistently over the last few years, and they need to really find consistency, because teams like Hearts and Hibs, Motherwell this season, although it'll be difficult to see how long that will last based on it, I think if they hold on to Jens Berthel, these teams, especially the two Edinburgh clubs, are pulling away from Aberdeen, and it's going to be a long way back, because both of those sides have excellent squads. We obviously know about the investment Hearts have and the analytic front that's behind them, and they're expected to come back next season even stronger. So yeah, the Aberdeen are miles off where they should be as a football club at the minute, and they need to do things to change that, and getting a manager in that they can trust to guide them to success would be a good start. But staying in division is obviously the priority at the minute. I think they will be okay. but getting a result tonight and sort of turning around the terrible
See
league
the
form
injection.
would be a good start to confirming that they're placing the Scottish Premiership next season.
See with the injection of Motherwell, the injection of Hearts, the injection of Hibs, what is the actually success then even for Aberdeen then?
I think Aberdeen need to be aiming for third place at the very least. I think that I know that it's difficult to say that because Hearts are obviously got a massive investment behind them, so that's difficult. But Aberdeen are, in my opinion, based on the historic sort of records and what they've achieved in Scottish football and European football, I'd say Aberdeen are the third biggest club in Scotland. But the tide is possibly being changed on that, and the two Edinburgh clubs are coming up, are certainly catching them. So yeah, they need to do more, and that's what the fans expect. That's what everyone expects. Aberdeen should be a club that, with over 10 games left in the season, are writing off any possible chance of getting even top 6 football, never mind European football. It's not good enough for Aberdeen. It needs to be better, and yeah, they need to do more. And I don't know where that starts. Does that start with a new manager and getting in a new group of players? They'll need to have a big rebuild in the summer, I think. Or does that start at a higher level? Was Dave Cormack the right man for his post? I think a lot of Aberdeen fans will question that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the appointment and the summer. I think we've had a few names floated about, and we seem to be getting closer to who the man will be. But yeah, they need to get this one right, and they need to back him properly and start being a football club and performing like a football club at the size that Aberdeen is.
Okay, it wouldn't be a show without Robbie giving us a question. So, Robbie, take it away.
I've got 3 players in front of me. We've done this on last night's show with Reagan and Owen, and I think I gave them Lewis Morgan, Tommy Gravison, and the other player completely springs my mind. But I do have 3 more, and the links between all 3 of these players is, of course, Aberdeen and Celtic, if both sides go head-to-head tonight. So we'll go for the first one. These will get progressively harder as they go on. So the first player started his career in 2002 at Hibs, where he spent 5 years at Easter Road, racking up 110 appearances and scoring 13 goals.
Is that Scott Brown?
It is Scott Brown. Well done, Ethan. You got that straight away. Of course,
that's too easy, Robbie. Too easy for his feet.
You never got it, Reagan.
Of course, would have went on to tell you he played with Celtic between 2007 and 2021, then moved to Aberdeen in 2021 to 2022. Alright, your second player started his career in 2004 at Reading, where he spent 3 years at the club. He spent 3 years at the English side. He went in 2 loan spells, racking up 18 appearances and scoring only once.
Oh, I think it's is it Johnny Hayes.
It is Johnny Hayes. Well done, Reagan. That's a great shout, by the way. There's that ball knowledge.
Johnny Hayes, put in there.
And your final player, I'm not sure if he's going to get this, but we'll give it a try. He started his career in 1975, where he spent 2 years. He spent 2 years at Greenock Morton, racking up 64 appearances, scoring 37 goals.
Oh, Robbie, that's close. I mean, that's closer to you. You should get that.
That's enough of that. Any shouts?
No.
Right, I'll go on to the next clue. In 1977, he moved over to Newcastle United, where he spent 2 years at Newcastle, making up 28 appearances and scoring 5 goals.
From Morton to Newcastle, my God, he's done well there.
Good agent.
Aye.
Stumped.
I can move on to the next club if you want. Probably the biggest.
Aye.
Well, not the biggest club, but like in terms of appearances, it's the biggest. So in 1979, he moved to Aberdeen, where he spent 5 years at the Dons, racking up 164 appearances, scoring 61 goals.
The Celtic to Morton to Newcastle to Aberdeen.
Yep.
Oh,
He got the high in Newcastle, and then he fell off a wee bit and went up north.
No.
Want me to keep going?
keep going, Robbie.
Right, 1984, he moved over to.
Stop Googling it.
Not Googling it.
Robert, I need to stop you there. It's half time in the game. We've missed the first half with all your crew.
Don't worry, Michael, there's no many left. But in 1984, he moved to Hamburg in Germany, where he spent a year at the club, racking up 30 appearances, scoring 7 goals.
Oh
No.
my God, Hamburg to Aberdeen to Hamburg to Newcastle to Morton. No got a clue.
You want me to just keep going?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
In 1985, he moved to Celtic, where he spent 4 years at Celtic, racking up 87 appearances and scoring 27 goals.
Has he got a Newcastle accent then?
No, he was born in Glasgow.
Right, okay.
He got a Newcastle accent.
I don't know how he moved from Morton to Newcastle to Aberdeen to Celtic.
Good agent. Right, you want me to just to keep going because there's a couple more clubs that I can move on to something else. If you can get it. So,
Possession in that.
yeah, so in 1989, he moved back to Newcastle. It was funny when Reagan said about the
Oh,
accent
for
there.
God's sake.
He went back to Newcastle for 3 years, making 67 appearances, scoring 24 goals. Then in 1991, he moved to IK Brage of Sweden, where he made 3 appearances, scoring twice, and then he finished his career. 1991, he moved to Reading, where he spent 2 years at the club, racking up 45 appearances and scoring 7 goals. If need be, I've got a few more clues that can help.
Yeah, I think I'll need a few more clues.
So, international wise,
Yeah.
he only made 4 caps for Scotland, scoring 2 goals. But in his managerial career, he was Scotland's assistant manager. He managed Motherwell twice. He's managed Aberdeen. He's managed Leicester, Wolves, Millwall, Brighton, Barnet, Eastbourne, Borough as caretaker manager, and most recently he managed Dundee.
It's no okay. Okay. Did you say he was assistant manager at Motherwell?
No, he was Scotland's assistant. He's managed Motherwell twice.
Right. Okay. So Matt McGee.
It is Mark McGee. Well done, Michael.
What a career, Matt McGee. The Morton to Newcastle.
There you go. You must get some social lives in Newcastle and Greenock. I mean, there's nothing in Greenock, as you know.
A better agent than Michael's.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. But no, my agent's not bad at the moment. Actually, I'm getting work, so I'm quite happy. Even back to the game tonight, man. And Neil said yesterday, Sunday was a good game, but tomorrow will be a tough game. Aberdeen will get themselves up for the game, and that's what we say after all the kind of derby games and all that. It's what you do after that game, because if Celtic goes and drops points or even gets beat tonight, this game, I mean, all the good work on Sunday has been kind of like undone.
Yeah, exactly that. The fight back from Celtic from 2 down to get a point out of Ibrox will mean absolutely nothing if they can't take all 3 tonight. And if you look at it, if they were to fall, well, obviously they're 8 points behind Hearts now. If they were to be anything more than 5 points, that being 7 or 8 points behind Hearts, then I'd look at that as maybe even too far a challenge. I think there's a lot of points still to be played for, but I just don't see Hearts dropping too many points. I think until the split, it's going to be difficult. And also, I don't know how much I back Celtic and Rangers to pick up more points than Hearts between now and the split. I think Celtic have still got to play Motherwell at home. I know Hearts have as well, I believe. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting, of course, but Celtic need to focus on themselves tonight, and they have the advantage of the game in hand. They have had the advantage of the game in hand for a while now, if you want to call it an advantage, and now they have the chance to go into second place, get the bragging rights over Rangers officially, after I think probably Celtic carrying a little bit of the bragging rights, as a lot of people had Rangers as favourites to win the game on Sunday, including myself, and obviously Celtic got the point, which I think suited them a lot better with the game in hand, and of course Rangers going back to Celtic Park, but there's still a lot for both teams to do, and Celtic need to make sure they pick up as much points as they can to have any chance of winning this league title, because as I said, Hearts are strong favourites, I'd say, at the minute, and any points dropped by Celtic tonight will be celebrated across one half of Glasgow, Edinburgh, and probably the surrounding areas of Glasgow and Motherwell's case, because they'll have an opportunity to go above Celtic at the weekend. So that's how crazy this league is, and I'm just hoping for another good game tonight, and I think we'll get one.
I'm still surprised Matt McGee played for Morton. Robbie, that's interesting. Give us your predictions for the game tonight, guys. We'll kick off with Robbie, because I think he's got one of his wacky predictions.
I think we'll leave Robbie to the very end, because I'm really interested in Robbie.
Well, we are okay, cool, yeah. It's one of these ones where, do you want the bad news or the good news? And tonight we might have some bad news from Robbie. I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. Reagan, let's start with you. Aberdeen and Celtic.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 win, and I'm going to say Celtic are going to get the goal in the last 15 minutes.
Oh,
I think it'll be close.
I'm going to go with, to follow that up, I'm going to, I think Celtic have had the least troubles against Aberdeen compared to any of the other teams that played in the Premiership this season. They beat them twice by two goals on both occasions, and I think they will do the same again. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Celtic. Will not be the best performance, but I think they'll do the job by 2-0. So an away win for Celtic.
By the way, good so that everybody knows that Ethan's just copied my prediction, because I put it in the chat. So there you go.
Oh, I know, I've seen it. Sorry, Michael.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll go 3-0 then, Celtic. I don't want to be the same as people, and it's good. Okay, so I've not got any sound effects here, so we'll just go to Robbie and see what he's saying tonight.
Well, it's definitely not as mental as that. 12-0 win for Celtic.
12-0 win for Celtic.
All the way for the USA, by the way. So hello for over the pond.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Yeah.
And please make sure you subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone, Michael.
Exactly. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aye. So, your prediction, Robbie.
Yeah, I love the way Reagan's built this up, by the way. But no, Celtic need a demolition job on a team to get themselves right back up for this, because any points dropped in the next two league games writes them at the title race, in my opinion. And by the way, I stand by Motherwell on the in a title fight. They're not, in my opinion, they will finish third.
Robbie.
They will finish, in my opinion, Motherwell will finish third this season. They will split someday. I'm not sure who it will be, but they'll split one of them. But they're not in a title fight. It's far too soon for that, and I think they're too far behind. But tonight, I'm not going to go for that demolition. I'm going to go Aberdeen 1, Celtic 6. Celtic will start. Celtic will go 3-0 up inside 20 minutes. I reckon. That's my prediction.
That's some score for Robbie there.
Wow. I think this is the score of the season, by the way, guys. 12-0. Is that half time or full time?
That's actually gonna. These kind of score predictions are going to help the Aberdeen lie down for Celtic conspiracy theories, aren't they?
Well, It is only 2 wins in the league against Celtic since like 1975 for Aberdeen in it, so like that completely writes that out the water. But I just think Celtic need to roll a team out. They really do, to try and get that fire back, to try and get that we can actually go on and win this. Celtic need something to give, and they've not really done it this season, so I think it will be the night.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good point. I think Celtic do need a result like that, and I think 2-0 is a closer to that than usual from Celtic, because obviously it's been 1 goal margins, wins, dragging them out. I think it'll be a little bit more convincing for Celtic tonight, but maybe not to that extent, although with how Aberdeen have played this season and certainly recently in the league and against Celtic in general, then I wouldn't be too surprised if we get a crazy scoreline like that.
I might go 11-0 tonight. So thanks for watching tonight. Thanks to that commenter for 12-0. Do come back after the game, because you might be right. I don't know. So join us at 10 o'clock. Thanks to Reagan, thanks to Ethan, and thanks to your quizmaster, Robbie Rance. And we will do our all over again at 10
You're
o'clock.
watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions